thinking this might work well as a call and response, so feel free to ask me any questions that may occur to you while I'm speaking. So as actually everyone here is aware,
It's probably our only chance. It's only one time thing too, right?
this will never happen again. If there's any curiosity you're just burning it, yeah, throw it out. So yeah, actually, as everyone here is aware, I did a wedding last Saturday, and it went really well. And it was worth all the time that I spent putting into it. I'd like to go through just kind of like from the start, how just like a little bit of play-by-play, how things went, and maybe a couple things I learned along the way, and how you can hopefully apply it to some of your own speeches. So it was last Saturday, and the rehearsal was on Friday. So the rehearsal was the first time that I was able to see the wedding space. It was at the W Hotel, top floor, just this beautiful circular room, just kind of a low stage. Actually, the whole thing was a dance floor, so I was officiating on a dance floor, or what became the dance floor. But what was interesting, the rehearsal, I learned that my impression from the rehearsal was that the wedding was going to be a lot more informal than I had been preparing for. So what I did immediately was I went home and I cut like about 1 to 2 minutes of content in my speech. I just thought, this is too wordy. The wedding is going to be a little bit more laid back. I've got too much of a formal thing going. So I cut it up, made it a little bit more informal, and I felt like it flowed a lot better. And actually I felt more confident with that, because then I didn't think my audience would get bored with me. Come wedding day, maybe a little bit nervous, but you know, I kind of expected that at this point. If it wasn't nerve-wracking, I wouldn't have done it. I was sucking throat lozenges all day because the room was so loud. There's a band playing for the first hour, and the room was so loud that I had to shout to see people. And there's all these like people I hadn't seen forever. I was like, "Hey, old friends, and how you doing?" And talking over the music. And I'm like, man, I'm going to go up there, and my throat's going to be hoarse. So I was sucking throat lozenges. So that's a neat little tip you might all want to take with you. Bring your cough drops on your important speech day. But a big thing that helped me was greeting people as they came in, because then I kind of felt like I had a lot of audience members on my side. I didn't want any kind of big reveal, like, okay, now the officiant steps on stage. The whole first hour of the wedding day, I was trying to go up to as many people as possible and say, thank you for coming, like, good to see you, we haven't seen each other in so long. And that way it made me more relaxed and made me outgoing, because I have to put myself in that extroverted mode before I can really have that energy level. So I made that point to do that. When I actually got up there, a few things occurred. One is I realized I hadn't practiced with a microphone at all, which is actually quite an experience. I wasn't used to hearing my voice, and it was kind of a struggle for me. I wish now that I had actually bought a microphone and practiced on like a PA system, because what happened was I could hear myself, and it was hard to focus on projecting. And I wasn't sure how far I was supposed to stand from the microphone, because I'm sure we've all been to talks where the speaker, maybe the microphone's here and then he's going in and out, and his voice is fading out, and it's distracting, right? And I didn't want that, so the whole time I was so focused on just talking directly into the microphone that it made me kind of stiff, and I think it detracted from my speech a little bit. So for anybody who might have to give a speech at some point with a microphone, I would advise actually going out and buying one beforehand and practicing on it. Now, possibly as a result of the microphone situation, but mostly as a result of just my nervousness, I also had a hard time just relaxing and focusing on the moment. Like, it was kind of a beautiful moment. Like, I'm marrying my 2 best friends, but in my mind, the whole thing was over in a flash. And I was so focused on how's my tone, how's my delivery, how's my pacing, how's my eye contact, how's my everything, that I couldn't really just relax and be there. And maybe that'll just come with experience. And I'm not saying that I regret it so much, because afterwards everyone was coming up to me and telling me, oh, that was very lovely and funny. I was like, oh, thank you very much. But I was just so focused on performing that it was hard for me to enjoy it. But I guess at the same time, maybe a professional musician, I'm sure, has a hard time focusing on the song because they're so focused on getting every note just right. But I don't know. I'm still not sure if I'm upset about that or not, but it's something that happened. Afterwards, it was a big relief. I was so glad to be done. I actually had the wedding planner and the DJ come up to me and say that it was the best job that they had ever seen an amateur officiant do, and a lot of people didn't believe me that it was my first time doing it. And so my response was, well, gotta join Toastmasters. And actually I had an audience member come up to me and say that they're officiating their own wedding in a couple months, and what do they recommend? And I said, Toastmasters. And I also recommended my Wedding Officiant's Guide book that I had as kind of like my Bible for this whole process. And so I don't know, maybe we'll get a couple new members joining up soon, who knows. But it was great. People were coming up to me all night just, thanking me for the ceremony, so that was always great. And it was like, I felt good to serve my friends in this way. So now at this point, I'm just going to kick back and relax all summer because I've accomplished my big goal. I put a ton of work into this, and now I feel like I can just kind of like have as much fun as I want because I did my thing. So if there's a moral to this story, I would have to say what I learned is that, I took a risk in joining Toastmasters. Actually the first time I almost gave my icebreaker, I almost considered just not coming. I tried to find an excuse to not show up because it's kind of a scary thing to get up there for the first time. That was almost a year ago, but I stuck with it. And thanks to that, my friends asked me to do their wedding, and it ended up being probably one of the coolest things I've ever done, and it's going to stand out as a life milestone pretty much. And I would have to say to anyone considering, ask yourself where you might be holding back, because if you take that first risk, maybe it's the first speech or whatever you might be afraid of doing, just do it, because you have no idea. You literally have no idea what opportunities might come as a result of you doing this scary thing. Thank you.
This is the special recording section to help deal with us.
Maybe you should, if we have more people next week, you gotta do it again for them.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
just for-
Yeah. Well,
Just
next week I might give an actual, like a more prepared 3 actual tips and how you can take them away.
Oh, good. All right, so we have done all the speeches. Right now we're moving to the evaluation part. So Kyle is going to evaluate John's speech. The word is not flat.
The world is not flat. Now that title tripped me up at first because I thought going into this he was going to talk about the flat earthers and the flat earth society, but it ended up not being about that. And I'm kind of interested in checking that book out because I want to know a little bit more about that. Right away, I liked how you started off with an example of how, in this flat earth, how things are supposed to look, in that we end up with this ideal, this almost utopian society where we have more skilled workers, and then the other countries they get all the manufacturing jobs. It's a win-win. And I think that offers a really nice contrast in how things actually work right off from the start. I kind of wanted to know a little bit more about what's broken, or what about our system makes this not work. For instance, in my head I was thinking, well, what about our education system? I don't know, you talk about it a lot, but I don't think you mentioned education at all. And could one reason why we don't have these higher level jobs, could it be because our education system is broken? College is expensive, and we're not funding education. So I had to wonder about that. I thought your eye contact, you seemed like you were focused mostly on the camera. So I thought one thing you could have done to improve was just to address the audience more regularly. Otherwise, you had plenty of examples to support your point.